Well, Canada, the verdict's in. You've named the top 3 worst retailers to shop at. So I decided that I would do my own independent research on those particular stores to see what I thought of those stores and let you know whether I thought they were worth shopping at or not. Not only did I check out the 3 worst retailers that you, the consumer, mentioned, I also checked out a few other stores that you shop at quite frequently. We always talk about the negatives with large, big box stores. I actually want to talk about a few of the positives along with the negatives today. I want to give you some good tips on which stores I'd recommend shopping at. So let's get started here. I actually want to start with some of the stores that I found to be acceptable and actually give an A+ rating to. Number 1 on my list would be Safeway. I've shopped at Safeway quite a few times, and this past week I decided to go in there and actually look around and not just be a shopper, but kind of be like a secret shopper and evaluate their store on several different levels. One being cleanliness. When I entered the store, I did notice right away how clean Safeway's store is. I like their setup. I like how all the fruits and vegetables are always organized nicely. The presentation is outstanding. Not once did I ever find a product on the floor while shopping at Safeway, which is actually a very hard accomplishment to do because when you have such a large store, keeping it clean can be quite a large task sometimes. One thing else I did notice is that the employees were very friendly. If they made eye contact with you, they always said good morning or good afternoon, sir. If there is anything that we can help you with, just feel free to ask us. Which is very unlike most big box stores. I found a lot of large stores to shy away from the customers, and I found it very hard to find an employee to get help. But we'll get into that here in a second. One other thing I really liked about Safeway was not only were they friendly when I was checking out, but they bagged my groceries, and if I needed help to my car, which I, myself, don't usually need help with my groceries, but if you're an older person and you are a handicapped person, you need help, they are there to help you. And so I actually would give Safeway an A+ rating and how they run their stores. The only thing about Safeway that I was a little discouraged with is their prices. Their prices are on the high side, and if you've shopped at Safeway at all, you'll probably notice yourself that it is quite expensive to shop at Safeway. But if Safeway is in your budget, and some people like the more quiet atmosphere, the clean atmosphere, and the extra help when they're shopping, Safeway is the place for you. One other store I actually would like to talk about here is London Drugs. It's a very large store up here in Canada. A lot of people shop at it for their medications and various other items. One thing I actually liked about London Drugs that I have not seen in other stores is their shopping baskets have wheels on them. Have you ever gone shopping and you only needed a few items, so you grabbed a basket and well, by the time you get halfway around the store, it probably weighs 20, 30 pounds and you wish you'd gotten a shopping cart instead. Well, London Drugs, they actually have the wheels on the bottom of their basket so that you can just wheel it around the store so you don't have to carry it. I kind of like that. Not too many stores have them. Another thing about London Drugs is that they're clean. Their aisles are organized. I did not find any products on the floor whatsoever. So again, I actually would give London Drugs an A+ rating on how they present their store and how clean they are. One area that I did notice that they were lacking in was customer service. I noticed quite a few employees on the floor, and at no time was I ever asked if I needed help. I actually stood beside an employee that was organizing a cart for several seconds, and she never asked me if I needed help. And I pretended like I was lost too, like I was like, trying to find something, and well, no help at all. So that's one area I think London Drugs could probably work on, is teaching their staff to be a little more open with the customers and be willing to help them. But overall, I actually would give London Drugs an A rating because the store is clean, very organized, and I felt anybody, whether you are handicapped or able to walk around, to be able to shop in that store freely without any complications. Another store on my list that I shop at quite frequently and would just like to give a plug for them is M&M Meats. They are a very good store to shop at. They're organized, they are very well laid out, very easy to shop there because you walk in, you pick the products that you want, and they get it for you. They stack it all on the counter, they greet you when you walk in the door, and I actually found the prices to be reasonable because everything's in bulk and the food is good. So I give M&M Meats an A rating. Now, those are just some of the stores that I actually would like to just say they deserve an A or an A+ rating because it does take a lot of work and a lot of organization to become a good store and have quality service like those 3 stores that I mentioned. But let's get on to some of the stores that you've talked about, the consumer, the 3 worst stores to shop at. And here they are. Number 3 on your list was Zellers. That's right, Zellers, we've all shopped there and we all know what it's like to shop at Zellers. Customer service is poor. You can never find any help when you're in the store. And the store, I found myself being in there, wasn't very clean. But I didn't spend a lot of time in Zellers because by the year 2013, Target will be up here in Canada and pretty much all the Zellers will be gone by that point. So I didn't feel the need to really walk around and evaluate the store as it was kind of a waste of my time. But that was the number 3 worst store on your list. The number 2 worst store on you, the viewer's list, was Canadian Tire. And I actually did quite a bit of research on Canadian Tire. I went into several different stores in several different cities within the area that I live in to see what kind of stores and what kind of presentation and customer service Canadian Tire gives you, the viewer. I was not impressed at all with Canadian Tire, and I actually feel that Canadian Tire actually has some problems. Not only were the aisles cluttered in most of the stores, I actually found the stores to be unsafe to be in. Especially if you were a person that was in a wheelchair, most of the aisles you could not even navigate around. And another problem I found with Canadian Tire is they didn't rope off their aisles when they were reconstructing their aisles or changing their displays or boxing up items. Like I went to one of the Canadian Tires right after Christmas when they were taking all their Christmas items down, and it was a mess everywhere. And if there was a child running through the aisle, there was a chance that they could have got hurt. Another big concern I have with a lot of large stores, and Canadian Tire is one of them in particular, is the use of ladders. If you've noticed, there's ladders laying around everywhere where a child could climb up on and fall, or that ladder could be easily pulled down on a child or even just an adult and get hurt. And I think stores need to start putting away their tools and equipment when they are not being supervised while working in the stores. Those are just some of the things that I found with Canadian Tire to have problems. Their customer service was lacking big time. I couldn't find anybody to get help. I actually found one of the managers at the Canadian Tire to actually be quite rude to me when I was asking them about a product that they had sold out of. I'd asked them if they could replace it with another product that was a little bit more expensive but try and match the price on the product that they were out of because they weren't going to give me a rain check, and he was quite rude to me, and I just felt that was very unacceptable as a manager to be like that towards customers. So Canadian Tire, you guys need to have a sit down with your managers and head office and make some big changes because you have some serious problems within your store and within your management. Number 1 on your list, the viewer, was Walmart, believe it or not. Now, I did my own independent study on Walmart, and, well, I think the reason why people said Walmart was the worst was, well, it's the store that we most shop at. So if you asked 100 viewers, they would say it was the worst. But if you asked a separate set of 100 viewers, they would probably say it was the best. So it really all depends on who you talk to, because Walmart was not only labeled as the worst store to shop at, it was also labeled as the best store to shop at. Walmart does have some problems along with some of the other big box stores like Canadian Tire. Another problem I found with Walmart was, again, the use of ladders. I actually found Walmart to be a little more disturbing. There was a ladder in an aisle where children could be. There were stuffed animals, and there was this huge unattended, like 10, 12-foot ladder that somebody seriously could have got hurt. Not only that, there was tools that the staff had used that they just left on the shelf. Again, some of the aisles were very cluttered, and if you were a person that was handicapped and you had to navigate around the aisles, you just simply couldn't do that. Customer service at Walmart was not good at all. I was not impressed with their customer service. I noticed I went past the electronic aisle within a 1 hour period twice. And the first time I went by, I actually noticed about 4 employees just standing there talking, not helping anybody. I went by about 45 minutes later and noticed that there were 2 employees standing there, still talking and not helping customers. So I'd left that section and searched around the store to see what other problems Walmart had within their store. Finding messy aisles and disorganized aisles, people not cleaning up. Came back to the electronics section. This will be my 3rd time coming back to the electronics section. There was no employees there, and then there was 2 customers standing there for several minutes waiting for help. I was just beside myself noticing that Walmart has a lot of things that they can make changes to. So those are the 3 top stores that you, the viewer, named to be the worst. And you're right, they do have some problems and need to make some changes. There's another store that I actually would like to add to that list. I've shopped there quite a few times myself and did a independent study on it the same day that I actually did a study on the top 3 worst stores. And this one rates up there, in my opinion, as being a store that needs to make some changes. The Real Canadian Superstore, owned by Loblaws. There were some really unsafe things going on in that store. Now, again, this is just one store in particular that I was in, so I can't say all the Real Canadian Superstores are like this. But I found a couple things to be very unsafe and were actually quite disturbing, and actually were worse than the store in Canadian Tire, if that was even possible, because I found Canadian Tire to be a very unsafe atmosphere to be in for a family that had kids. But Real Canadian Superstore, I noticed I'd walked past this pallet of sugar that had been spilled on the floor and broken open. That's not the worst part about it. A few seconds later, I came back to that aisle to watch an employee walk past that pallet of sugar and do nothing about the unsafe pallet of sugar, as he watched another customer walk right past it and almost trip on the bags of sugar that were broken open and were everywhere. That employee should have stopped what they were doing, gotten a caution sign, and coned off the area to make it safe. There was another aisle that I went down where there was pet food, and I had noticed that there was kitty litter everywhere in the aisle. That is a big no-no. Somebody could easily slip on that and get hurt. If an elderly woman or man was walking down that aisle, they could have fallen and been seriously injured. Those are just some of the things that I've noticed at the Real Canadian Superstore while shopping there. It was a very busy afternoon. It was a Saturday afternoon around 4 o'clock. I decided to do my research around that time, being that that is the busiest time. And I found that they were lacking employees cleaning up. And I think the Real Canadian Superstore needs to sit down with their managers and all their head managers and discuss how they are operating, because being a customer, I found it actually quite unsafe being in that store. Those are just some of the things that I found to be quite disturbing while shopping at these stores. You know, some of the things like leaving carts unattended. I found boxes stacked in aisles, blocking aisles. Like at Walmart, I found boxes stacked where I couldn't even get through the aisles. Carts stacked with boxes unattended, where a child could walk up and pull that box down upon themselves. You know, these stores need to make some serious changes. And you, the viewer, pointing out the 3 worst stores, I'm hoping that stores like Canadian Tire are listening to this and hopefully making some changes. Because I know myself, doing an independent research like that, if I was a manager that was operating those stores, I would have changes made instantly. That is unacceptable for customers to come in an unsafe environment and possibly get hurt in my establishment. I would not allow that to happen whatsoever. So I'm hoping that stores like Walmart, Canadian Tire, Zellers, and the Real Canadian Superstore are listening to their viewers. And hopefully you guys can make some changes. If you, the viewer, have shopped at any of these stores and you'd like to make a comment about your experience, or if you have shopped at another store that I haven't mentioned, whether it's good or bad, and you want to leave a comment down below, definitely leave a comment for the viewers. If you want to get a hold of me privately, you can always reach me at nowtestingproducts@gmail.com. I'm Steve for Now Testing Products, and thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more product reviews.